Auditorium is considered an outstanding example of Spanish colonial revival architecture with Italian Renaissance design elements.
But now the Fullerton venue's name is under fire due to its namesake's complicated past. Here's Orange County Bureau reporter Tony Cabrera with the story.
A week and a half ago, 18-year-old Jacqueline Logwood and a friend discovered Plummer Auditorium's namesake, Louis E Plummer, may have had ties to the KKK.
I was kind of disappointed because I love Plummer Auditorium. I've always been there. My siblings have performed there. I grew up in Fullerton, and it's a very monumental landmark.
The allegations stem from a 1979 dissertation that outlined the KKK in Anaheim in the early 1920s. It's the same reason Fullerton College took down a portrait of Plummer in the library last year.
I had no prior knowledge of who Plummer was, and I figured that many members of my community did not as well.
So Jacqueline started a petition urging Fullerton Joint Union High School District to change the auditorium's name. It now has more than 27,000 signatures, something that blew her away.
I feel like everybody right now is in a progressive state of mind that's like looking for change within the community. How can we improve our community? How can we encourage diversity in our community?
The superintendent says this concern has been raised in the past, but this is the furthest it's ever gone. He welcomes the discussion, acknowledging there are also people in the community who want to keep the Plummer name because of all the good he's done for the district, something Jacqueline says she understands.
He helped build the school system. We're labeled as the education city. You know, Fullerton has a very strong education system, and he was very much influential in that as well.
That's why she thinks a plaque can solve the problem, showing Plummer's contributions, but also revealing the reason for the name change.
That way we're not forgetting the past, we're remembering the past, and we're making way for a new future.
School board members will discuss the removal of Plummer's name at tonight's board meeting. It isn't final until they vote on it. In Fullerton, Tony Cabrera, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
Tony, thank you. We're now seeing shocking...
From Amy Cortland Alsbaugh, in quotes, wiping out a man's otherwise good name and good works for mere membership in an organization 100 years ago, however distasteful, is not going to make a meaningful change. From Sherry Sevilla, please consider removing the name Plummer from Auditorium to emphasize that Black Lives Matter. We should not be honoring those who acted otherwise. From Rocio Prado, Fullerton High School District should remove the name Plummer from the auditorium until a new name is selected. Vote against hatred and anti-blackness. Be on the right side of history. From John Atkinson, no proof. All whites are racist? From Josh Gibson. Hello, please rename the auditorium. A former KKK member does not deserve the honor of being associated with any learning institution. From Jacqueline Logwood, names on buildings change all the time. In one era, a building could be named after one person, and in another era, the citizens could decide to change the name to honor or pay tribute to another person. In addition, I would like to suggest that you also consider that there could be circumstances where a building name is no longer viewed with the same esteem as in a prior era. For example, USC removed the jersey of O.J. Simpson. O.J. is still a great football player of the past, but people just don't like looking at his highlights anymore. Louis E Plummer was a significant figure in Fullerton. His contributions to Fullerton College and the local school system was indeed legendary. That is why the auditorium was named after him at the time. However, it has been documented that he was also a prominent member of the Ku Klux Klan. You may be aware that during that time, Orange County was ruled by white supremacists who wore the KKK regalia and made life generally difficult for African Americans, Mexican Americans, and other non-white citizens. The schools that Louis Plummer gets credit for supporting were segregated. Indeed, schools for non-whites were substandard on many levels, such as teachers' pay, buildings, classes, nutrition, etc. Because of the petition, more people are more aware of this issue. Is it okay to have a prominent building named after a KKK member? Every year, people enter the auditoriums. Every year, people speak the name of the building, maybe even millions of times per year. While it is probably not a big deal for you, speaking the name of Ku Klux Klan member may be a negative experience for others, including African American students who perform in the auditorium each year. In the main, changing the name of a building doesn't change the contributions of Louis E Plummer. A placard or exhibit could be placed inside the building to pay tribute to those contributions and also educate students and citizens why the name may be changed. Greetings, fellow board members in our community. I would like to give my opinion on this issue at this time. Louis E Plummer was the city superintendent of schools in Fullerton. He was a principal. He brought the concept and spirit of Fullerton College, which was the first junior college in California. I have been told that Louis Plummer was an advocate for education and students. The one thing we are focusing on is his involvement, his association, his belonging to a group called the KKK. This issue is not a new issue. We had this on our agenda 2.5 years ago and chose not to remove the name. Some might say that we're being reactionary to the events around us. The rallies, the protests, the petitions. I feel that after I watched that horrible video of the murder of George Floyd and watched thousands and thousands of people protest here in the United States and around the world, I believe after these events, after hearing passionate people speak about their accounts, being reminded of my own personal accounts of racism, I feel that we all have new eyes, a larger heart, and more understanding soul. The name and association with Plummer and the KKK has to go.
It was interesting when you were reading the comments because we had read most of them preliminarily as they come to us, and I found myself as conflicted as I had been for the last week. It's like this is all I think about. And I was interested in one of the comments that one of the writers mentioned, and that was a time for discussion. And it's interesting in my life, the discussions that I have had relative to the change because, well, I've talked to my sons, I've talked to my daughter, I've talked to my grandchildren, and I think that we, or perhaps, I don't know, some of us may agree that he certainly did a lot in his 20 years as a superintendent to benefit children and the district and the college. But my 15-year-old granddaughter said, you know, it's the KKK that ruins it. She said, with that name, with the KKK, his name can't be on the building.
It's possible that I've read every comment on this. I read every email that came in, every comment on Facebook, the comments on the Daily Titan article, the comments on the OC Observer article, the comments on a Reddit thread. I read all the comments on the petition, which has over 27,000 signatures. I read the comments on the OC Weekly Register article. And so I really tried to dig into the community sentiment. History has a long arc, and no one's denying the history that took place with the establishment of Fullerton High School and the establishment of Fullerton College. It's time to turn the page, just like one does when reading a history book. You don't stop partway through, you turn the page, and that's how you get on to the next era of history, is you turn the page.
Ask for the vote since we heard from every board member.
We did hear from everyone.
Mr. Montoya?
Aye.
Mrs. Boucher? Aye. Dr. Jang?
Aye.